Luna, how do you feel about social media?
Hello, Mom. Hello.
Hi, this is Camber.
Hi, this is Nikisha, and you're listening to Wise and
Wise and
Weird.
Weird.
Are we leveling up? Is it leveling up? Because I don't
Better
know.
be. Fuck.
I'm on a roller coaster though. Mine's not really. It's definitely not doing this. It's definitely doing more of this.
Yeah. I want to say it's like this though. Like it's a roller coaster, but it's like over time it's on the upward.
I want to say that too. I definitely want to say that as well. Man, it's been a ride lately.
I know. I feel really good about myself though lately, which is I don't want to say newer, but it feels good to like feel pretty confident about what I want and where I want to go and stuff like that. I feel really clear about a lot of things about myself. But
That's
in
huge.
that, I also feel very unclear about like the world and things around me become less clear.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the world.
the whole world.
I feel that way as well. Yeah, I do feel like I've been chugging along, and I've been doing a lot of self-work lately though too, self-exploration, and I think it's really helped a lot. But yeah, then it's kind of like the more that you feel connected to yourself and you have these big realizations about yourself, you look around you and you're like, oh shit, like what is happening over here though?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been interesting times.
I think it's perfect too, because I have a lot to say about that. And it ties very much into social media. So
Nice.
yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, we can just get on going.
Let's get on.
Let's
But
get
first,
on with it.
the stars.
The stars, which I was just going to say lately, kind of just adding on to or ending that, it's been a lot of like heavy energies lately. I feel like heavy, more serious for the past few months. So after like eclipse season and all those planets retrograde and things like that. But now I'm feeling like it's more, I was actually really excited for February this year because I felt like there was going to be a lot of forward moving energy, which I, obviously write about and stuff. But yeah, it feels like there's going to be some more not as serious and heavy energies coming up, which will be good. Just in time for your trip too. So that'll be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did talk about this a little bit in the last episode, but I'm going to go over it again because on February 14th, Valentine's Day, so right around this day, it's going to be these energies. So it can be, day before, the day of, day after. Paulus enters Aries, the sign of Aries. So that's an asteroid that will be entering Aries. This asteroid is about inner knowing and like a wisdom and a strength. So I really like that combined with Aries. Aries is the first of all the signs, and astrologically, all of the signs are kind of associated with a certain age. So Aries would be kind of more compared to, they're the first, they're the frontier, they're the babies of the zodiac, which sounds really bad, but they're just really what they're exploring and gaining in this like lifetime is independence, exploring your own independence. And they're kind of the trailblazers going off and doing their own thing, their own way. And they're the first to do it as kind of Aries energy. But what this asteroid helps bring to this is like kind of a more mature type of it mixes really well with Aries energy, but it gives it kind of a maturity and a wisdom there and like an inner knowing. So I really like that. And I felt like that was very sexy energy for me. I was like, ooh, that's very sexy energy. That's what I find sexy, I guess. But yeah, so a lot of confidence around that time. It's a fiery time. I put spicy.
Well, everyone likes a spicy burrito.
Yeah, they do, especially on Valentine's Day.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a great combo.
Whatever you're into. No judgment.
Yeah, true. We all like different things here. So really good energies there. I like that for Valentine's Day. I like that. Yeah, confidence, fiery, spicy, sexy energy there. February 16th can be kind of /17th, but February 16th, Leo full moon. So this is a really good energy as well. And if you have like Leo placements, then you'll feel this really strongly. I have a Leo moon. So that will be really fun and exciting. So Leo is a fire sign. So they're fiery, they're bold, kind of like Aries, but they're a little bit further down the line, right? So the age associated with it is a little bit older. It's more like family, marriage. Leos are very big on family. So they're like the family fire sign. So around this time, full moon in Leo can be a really good time for connecting to your inner child, but also connecting to your family. It can also be a really good time for working on your wounds around these areas. So if you're doing any inner child work, which I have been, and any like, healing wounds, from past wounds from, family, which I have been, then it's a really good time to pair those things. And there's a lot of really good healing energy around this full moon. It also feels very playful and joyful to me. So a really good time to like bust out those skates and go roller skating, or play with bubbles at the park or something like that. I don't know. It is kind of winter over here, but anyway,
Do it anyway.
Do it. Whatever you liked as a child, like do that. Whatever you found joy in as a child. My jam was Barbies. Oh my God. I
did too. Yeah. I had like my size Barbie. Did you have one of those?
I had 2 of them. Yes.
Ooh, girl.
And I knew I was getting it for Christmas because it was all wrapped up under the tree.
Yeah.
And I kept telling my grandpa, I'm like, oh my gosh, it looks like a my size Barbie. He's like, no, it's an alligator.
An alligator.
But yeah, I had 2 of them. I was obsessed with like Barbies, dolls. I was always playing house, but like Barbies were my jam. Like we could actually let's do a whole episode just on like retro.
Retro Barbies.
On like our Barbies and like just our retro toys we had, because oh my God. But yeah, I actually kind of still wish it was like socially acceptable for me to play Barbies. But now I guess I have an excuse. I'm like, oh, I'm playing with Luna. But whatever gave you joy when you were a child, a really good time to do that. And in a way, doing that, you're working on those, wounds from childhood or that past, or doing that inner childhood work. So a really good time for that, a joyful time. And then, I put a lot of healing around this. So that should be a good one. I'm excited for that. Then February 18th/19th, I'm more heavily on February 19th, but February 18th/19th, the sun enters the sign of Pisces. So it becomes Pisces season. I love Pisces. They're really awesome. They're very deep. They're the most likely to be psychic, typically, or one of the most like psychic, intuitive type of signs. I think of any of the water signs when I think of that, though. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, all of them are like pretty powerful in that area. But yeah, Pisces, Pisces is super special because they are the last of all of the signs. So when you're thinking of it as the age associated with it, they're the oldest and the wisest. They would be past death, like after you pass away. The afterlife is where Pisces fits in. And Pisces sign is very fluid. They're one of the most like fluid, like go with the flow, changing type of signs because of this. So they're an accumulation of all of the signs previously. So they can be stubborn like a Taurus, but sensitive like a Cancer, and fierce like an Aries. Like they're an accumulation. They've got all these different things combined together. So Pisces are very unique in that way. And yeah, they're a really cool sign. Like I feel like everyone needs a Pisces in their life, which I have quite a few.
I have a lot.
You do. You do, yeah.
Pisces and Tauruses are my two most people that I have in my life.
I didn't know that. That's so cute. I just shimmy.
And my third is Scorpios.
Oh wow.
Random.
That is random. Yeah, I'm trying to think. For a while I had Sagittarius like crazy, which is so weird because Sagittarius and Taurus normally don't mix like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got quite a few that it's like a lot of like one sign. But Pisces, I have a few. The thing is, I don't have like a lot of Pisces, but the ones that I do, I've been very, very close with, like very, very deep connections with Pisces on like a soul level, which they kind of don't have it any other way.
I know. I was like, for them, that's like normal.
Yeah, you can't not have a soul level connection with a Pisces. So but my sister-in-law, she's a Pisces. Yeah, her birthday is coming up. So yeah, Pisces, Sun enters Pisces, water sign. They're the oldest and wisest, very intuitive, sensitive, creative, psychic, deep, also very fluid, dreamy, interchanging. Yeah, they're great. So go high five a Pisces today. Or something.
On the 19th.
On February 19th, high five of Pisces. And then February 22nd of 2022. Just like waiting for, I like can't stop talking about this day. And then this day will come and I'll just be sitting on my couch like eating Doritos.
Finish your tacos.
my Dorito tacos. my Dorito show tacos.
I love those.
Oh my gosh.
Coming over.
I was thinking about it earlier today. I'm like, dude, I hope people don't like hold me to this 22 tacos thing. I mean,
I'm going to. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I know I can do it. I know I can do it.
That's a lot. It'd have to be a really small taco. I've had really tiny tacos. Like they come on a little like thing like this big and you're like, what is this? This is nothing.
Yeah, I've had that too. I'm like, oh, I accidentally ordered the street tacos and they'll be like super small. Like, no, I meant the burrito taco, the burrito shaped taco. Do you have that? Yeah. So February 22nd is the 2222222. There's 6 2s. I kept saying 5 because it's just so many and I can't count that high, but it's 6 2s. So that is the portal. In numerology, I mean, that could be so many different numbers because in numerology, you don't break it down. You don't break the number 22. It's a master number. Some of them are master numbers like an 11, 22, 33, where you don't break it down into like, 2 plus 2 is a 4 or whatever. So this one's a master number. If you break that down, it's 22, which is a master number, but 3 times. So super powerful. Like we're going to be farting rainbows that day. Like I'm convinced like this is going to be cray.
Done.
Done. You're like, I already did.
I'm saving them up.
I already did yesterday on 2222. 2. So Yeah, so 3 sets of 22, which is a master number. 2, just single, in numerology represents duality. So yeah, the good and the bad, the light and the dark, the whatever, duality, and finding balance in between those. So the master number, though, is a higher vibration of that, much higher vibration of that. But the 22 master number, it's all about higher vibration, creativity, and like the angelic or spiritual realms. So yeah, I mean, pretty awesome day for doing some manifesting. I definitely want to do some intention setting that day, probably like, journaling. That's like my thing. Journaling, jotting it down, and yeah, doing some type of ceremony around that. I don't know if it will involve like water or fire or all the elements. I'm not sure, but yeah, really good day to do that.
Perfect.
Yeah, so some good energies coming up, I feel like.
Sounds
I
like
hope.
it. I feel like I needed that.
Oh yeah, I
Thanks
do.
for the positive.
I'm like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
oh yeah. Yeah, I think we all need it.
Oh,
Oh,
with all
why
of
are
our
we like this?
noises. I feel
Why?
like ever since I started doing breath work like 2.5 years ago, because part of it was like breathing and then like like making vocals, like noises that whatever you want to make. And now I find myself like naturally doing that. Like I just make weird noises sometimes.
That's
And like
awesome.
I have little discernment for like where I am at when I'm doing it.
I
I'll just be
love
like in
that.
the grocery store and I'm like, ugh, and just like randomly like making weird noises and you're just like, what the fuck? Anyway,
I love that
I
though.
think mixed with like
Mhm.
breath work and the fact that like we weren't around people for so long, we'll just
Mhm.
forget that like other people are also there.
That part. Yeah. No, I totally have forgotten. It's so bad.
How to be around humans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a way to connect us to get
It's never gonna get old.
your transitions at least make sense. Mine don't make sense. Mine do not make sense. I'll try to connect like a lamp to like my 22 tacos or something, and it just doesn't.
I think it makes perfect sense.
Well, we were sitting here talking about how we like forgot about other people in the world and stuff. So it's going to be like, well, a way to not forget is social media or something. I have no idea. That was so not right.
So social media.
Social media. That's what the topic's on if you're still trying to figure it out. To our listeners that are like, what is this on today?
What are we talking about?
Social media.
Social media. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you have a lot to say on this.
I do. I just get
Ooh.
I have a lot to say on it. I feel like a lot's been going on lately. And so I was debating about talking about it in like a general sense and being more of that, like how or getting specific about things, like, oh, this person's account, or like this person did this and this happened, or obviously, or just like in a general sense, like the whole concept of social media and stuff like that. I guess it'd be a little bit of both, but I definitely feel like since we decided to talk about social media, I've had a lot of things like come up where I've been questioning a lot of stuff. And so
I mean, I'm nosy,
yeah.
so I want the deeds.
Give me the G.
Give me
It's
the
not even
deeds.
like personal people. These like what I
Yeah.
like, it's bigger, I don't know if you've heard about like the Joe Rogan thing going on.
I haven't. I'm so bad about stuff, but I
No,
know that
it's
he's been
totally
all
fine.
over. I know that he's been all over the news. Like I know that. So I mean, I guess I
Yeah.
kind of do know. But yeah, just his show. Like people, there's a whole uproar about his show, right?
Yeah,
just don't
like
know
people
exactly
he
why.
invited on and stuff. And it's like,
Oh,
and then it like obviously like other people in peripheral, like Brene Brown and like Russell Brand are like then like coming in and like making statements and questions, and then people on Spotify are leaving Spotify because Joe Rogan's on Spotify, and it's like this whole thing. And
Wow.
so I'm not taking a stance on Joe Rogan here on the podcast by any means, but in that I've been like kind of curious, because it's like, I don't know, like who's making these rules? Who's doing the censorship? Like who's, where, like we're all human beings. And like if we're putting regulations in, there's somebody making the regulations. Does the majority of people agree with those people? And so like I feel like social media in general can be like really scary with censorship kind of stuff. And that's my negative side, the shadow side of it. And then the light side of it for me is it connects you also to like, I feel like artists are more accessible. And I
Mhm.
feel like I have found a lot of people like Alexandra Roxo, Gala Darling, like, and I can keep in touch better with like you through memes, which is a love language, and
Yeah.
and like, and there's a lot of humor. Like I've laughed, like belly laughed at like social media stuff. So I think that's the light
Mhm.
too. And so it's really tricky for me as we navigate social media ourselves, and like
Mhm.
what do we want to put on there? What is our privacy? Like what do we feel is the right privacy for us? How much do we want to share? What do we not want to share? How much do we want to be a brand? How much do you not want to be a brand? Like it's really crazy.
It
But
is.
yeah, the thing on my mind the most lately is the censorship. And that really bothers me on a lot of levels. And I think the number one level is like women's censorship, sex worker censorship. Um, when it's like mostly just women, that I get really frustrated about that. And yeah, that level of it, it's like, how much do you want to support something like Instagram when they're also not like carrying your values? But I get a lot of
Mhm.
value out of Instagram too. So it's really interesting.
It is. Yeah. It definitely is interesting.
So like how do you I don't even know what to ask. Like
I
how are
know.
you feeling about social media? Like did you have things that you wanted to bring to the table too specifically, or
I don't know about specifically. Mine was kind of more generalized, but I definitely do have mixed feelings about it. It's really hard. It's like a love hate type of thing, which I hear everyone describe it that way, right? But
Mhm.
I do have a hard time with the censorship. I definitely do, and especially when you're more of an outspoken female. Yeah, like I have a really hard time with that, and I know you do too, because
Ma, don't
you
even.
are exactly what I just described. Um, but yeah, it's kind of like, well, who's making these rules here? Like I'll see certain posts get banned and it's like a sensual, like photo of a woman's body, but it's done in like a totally tactful, classy way to me. And it's beautiful. And then it will be banned, and it's like, who banned this? Why? Or like it shows a breast and it's like, okay, well, obviously, most likely a woman didn't ban this because, the breasts aren't for male pleasure. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they're beautiful and that's great. And they can be, used in like a sexy way, I guess, but they're not for men. They're for,
Yeah.
yeah, like they're for a totally different purpose. And so there's just some things there that really, yeah, it really rubs me the wrong way. Um, with social media, I do. I have a hard time also, with how it affects your mental health.
Mhm.
I mean, we can't talk about social media without talking about that, because it does. I think a lot of people, it affects their mental health. For me, it totally does.
Mhm.
And the thing is, you're only posting the good things, right? You're not going to post when you're like a total mess. I mean, some people do, and you're like, oh no, Shirley, like tone it down. But
That's more Facebook than Instagram, I feel.
that's more, yeah, that's more Facebook. You're like, oh no, like don't do that here. But I do like when people are vulnerable, but yeah, sometimes like it's kind of hard to know if you're being like, I don't know. I personally don't want to like be messy on social media, but then there's this whole image that we like have to be, there's this whole perfectionism image that we have to obtain and get to. And I'm so exhausted from that. For one, just growing up in Utah, that's like such a huge thing there anyway. This like whole idea of perfectionism and stuff. And you know, those listening to the podcast that don't haven't been to Utah or aren't from there or haven't lived there, they probably don't really understand like um they wouldn't really understand what I'm talking about right now. But if you are from there, you would understand. You get it. Like there's just such this like level of perfectionism. And then leaving there and leaving that whole image and then still just having it in my daily life on social media. It's really hard. And it's like, well, who's setting these? So I definitely have a love-hate relationship with social media because it is a way that I connect. I feel very connected with social media. And especially now that we've moved, it's a really great way for me to send memes. And
Yeah.
because that's how I connect now. And yeah, to talk. I'm always doing like video chats. And it's kind of taken place over just like regular phone calls or even texting. Like I video chat my aunt almost every day. My best friend in Utah, like all the time, multiple times a week. Like I'm video chatting a lot now on social media. So I do love it for that and like keeping in touch with people from our travels and trips that we just talked about. And friends that have had children and watching them grow up, which I'm sure some of them feel that way about me and with Luna. So it's really, really good in that way, but it's definitely been harmful and like hurtful to me too, in a way where like I've really needed to take breaks. And yeah, it hasn't been good for my um, it, it hasn't been good for my mental health at times. And people don't know when you're struggling either or need help, because you just have this whole image. I think people like see my Instagram, my Facebook and stuff. Oh, Nikisha, she's good, she's got it, she's great. And they have no idea that behind it, I suffer from depression. Most people in my life don't know I have PTSD. I didn't even know for the longest time.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, so having things like that, like you have to really make sure that you're being intentional and like diligent and like setting these boundaries with social media.
Exactly. Boundaries. And that's what,
Boundaries.
yeah, I feel like I have to have stronger boundaries with social media than I have to have with my parents, with the people I date, like with anybody, because like it ruins my mental health faster than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly can feel very like inspired quickly as well.
Me
And I have to
too.
like, depending on like what I'm feeling, for instance, like there may be someone who is business orientated that like really inspires me in business, but like sometimes those people, are really fit also, and my body dysmorphia will start to like form where I'm like, oh, like I'm not getting further in business because I don't look like that, because I'm not fit or whatever. And that's not true, but it feeds into a bad narrative that I've had in my head before
Mhm.
social media was even a thing. So then I have to just be like, okay, I have to stop following this person for a minute, not because they've done anything wrong, but like I need to check myself. This is no longer inspiring me. But it comes with a great deal of self-awareness, and also just like diligence, because it changes. Someone who inspires me today can be very triggering in like a month.
Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm constantly following, unfollowing. Like my count of followers always stays around like 700 or something. And it like never really goes past that, but I never have like the same followers because it's like I'm never in the same place in my life. And I'm not like loyal to these people beyond like my mental health, you know? So,
Yes,
yeah.
I like that. That's a really good point. Yeah.
And it's like, I want to support artists, I want to support people, but as soon as it becomes like me comparing myself, I
Mm-hmm.
just know I need to take a step back. And I
Yeah.
hope they would understand that as well, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And most of the people I follow now are like that. They'll even like ask people, like, if you're not going to engage with my art or it doesn't inspire you or whatever, like, feel free to unfollow me.
Yeah.
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 Because the cancel culture is also very real and terrifying. And something we talked about in our episode 1 about fear. And
Mm-hmm.
I am terrified of getting canceled for the smallest things. And so I know you have that fear too. So social media
Yeah.
exasperates that like hardcore, like this whole Joe Rogan thing, like Brene Brown, and she said like, I'm going to stop my podcast just for a little bit for this foreseeable future, just to like, you know, just a pause. And everyone freaked out. They were just like, either on one side, they're like, you're going to be part of censorship and you just want Joe Rogan taken down. And then on the other side, it was like, you should speak up. You have a platform. You should speak up against him. And it's like, dude, she's a
Wow.
human being. She just needed a fucking pause. Like, leave
Mm-hmm.
her alone. And like, it gave me anxiety to watch that happening. And I
Yeah.
didn't dive into it too much because I was like already feeling like anxious about it. But just seeing like the surface level of that, it's like, it's real. Like, as a human being, you can't even be like, I'm going to take a moment and think
Yeah.
about this. And then you're getting like canceled, you know?
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
hate it. I hate it. That's the part about it I hate is it's like that there can be such divisiveness, you know? There can also be
There can
beautiful,
be.
beautiful support. I've seen pages where like women are so supportive of each other. Then you have
Mm-hmm.
like 1,000 comments that are just like cheering each other on. And like, I love that too.
I love it.
Yeah.
Um, I actually wanted to bring up TikTok because I've been very surprised by TikTok. I know that you and I were kind of talking about it recently. I was actually on it. Was this last night? This was last night. I was up way late, couldn't sleep because I like don't anymore. And but I was scrolling through TikToks. Most of the accounts that I follow, it's all like energy healers and stuff on there. But
Mm,
before getting a TikTok, though, I was like, oh, like anytime I'd hear about TikTok, I'm like, oh, okay, it's a bunch of teenagers like, look at me, you know. I was like, no, I don't want to go on there. I had no desire.
mhm.
And then I got my life coach. I had sessions with my life coach for a little while, and she was like giving me homework to do every week, you know, homework and different things to do or tackle or accomplish. And a lot of them had to do with social media and getting a TikTok and figuring out how to make certain TikTok videos. And I was just like, okay. And I'm super nervous about it. But I also was just like, really? Why? You know? And
Yeah.
I got on TikTok and I've been like really surprised at the community of healers on there and women and empowerment. And
Mm,
um it really has a lot to do with like what's your intention here, what are you wanting. That's what I mean by like being intentional about your social media. And I am on my Instagram too. I follow like funny meme accounts, and then I follow a bunch of plus size models that
mm,
have bodies like me, and then I follow you know, a lot of I support a lot of like black owners, business owners, black pages, the black community on there, um all kinds of stuff. What else was I gonna say? What else do I follow? Yeah, energy healers, like yeah, crystal, a bunch of crystal shops too. I get such a boner when I look at crystals, like, oh my god, when I see a big chunk of amethyst, I'm just like, yeah. So it's kind of like that one's kind of like my crystal porn, but I love it. But yeah, I follow a bunch of like energy healers and astrologers and things like that. And it's a lot of fun. But yeah, on TikTok, I do the same. And there's such a healing community on there. It's
mm,
actually been really, really cool. Like I've been discovering a lot of people's new like profiles, and I feel like I've been more, now that I've been more intentional with it, I've been drawing more people to me that are like-minded
Mhm.
and into the same kind of things that I am, and have that same kind of like respect for others, and awareness, and in that's very beautiful. But there is that whole other side that it's so scary. The more accessible you are, I have a really hard time with that.
Mm.
But like people have more access to me, and it's like I want to control, like I that sounds really bad, but like I should be able to control, like, not what, well, yeah, kind of what you see, but how much access you're getting to me, how much
Yeah.
energy you're getting from me, how much I allow you in,
Mhm.
and sometimes with social media, you don't really have that full control over that. Does that make sense? I feel like that
Yeah.
sounds really bad, but it is. That's something that I do kind of have a problem with. I struggle with that.
Yeah. I do too, like completely. I am a very private person. And if you got on my social media, if you got on my Instagram, you would not know that I'm an outspoken person. Like, I have like one liners. I'm like, Italy again, and that's not, it is who I am, but it's not at all at the same time. Cause I'm very much like, don't want people to have that access.
Hmm.
And I've been feeling into that a lot with this podcast because I have a lot of like Facebook groups that are business related for my Airbnbs. And I'm very active and engaging in those. And like, I know some like 65-year-old like white business dude who's like a millionaire like wrote, and he's like, oh, that's so cool, I see that you have a podcast, and he's conservative and from here, and you go to his page and you can tell he's very conservative, he's very religious. And he stopped responding or engaging in that group with me, so I assume he
Wow.
listened to the podcast.
Hmm.
um which is fine. Like, I'm learning
Yeah.
currently how that I'm not responsible to like filter myself to mitigate other people's feelings of me,
Hmm.
and that's fine. And that's really difficult because
Very.
of where we grew up too,
Hmm.
because I very much filtered myself constantly from like elementary school on to make sure that, because it's hard when you're in middle school, you don't have any friends. So you're going to try to make friends. And when 80% of the people you're around are very conservative and religious, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to filter myself, you
Yep.
know?
Hmm.
And so I find that a lot too. Yeah, because they're Utah specific Airbnb groups. So a lot of people in there are like, I don't know, not to stereotype, but it's like mostly just like richer people, right? And more conservative people. And it's really interesting.
That is, yeah.
So I haven't got any backlash or anything like that, but
Hmm.
you notice like the engagement with you. But yeah, and then I get like nervous because then I like my instant reaction was like, I have a different name for my Instagram and I have a different name for my Facebook, and I like have different people here and different people there, and I share different things here that I share there, and it's very separated. And
Hmm.
Facebook has my family and my business, and Instagram is like more authentically me, I believe, and has people, I draw those people into me. So I'm like proving to myself that you'll draw those people into you, but then I still separate those two things. And for now that feels good to me. Um but yeah, I think at some point it won't, you know. Maybe that's
Hmm.
my Libra moon. I'm like totally cool with having the two. No, I don't know if that's true, but
That's cool.
I think, yeah, I'm a very private person. So I agree with you that controlling what people have access to.
Hmm.
I also don't talk about like my business on my Instagram often either. I kind of
Hmm.
started to a little bit because my personal trainer, Oakley, was like, you should like post about this stuff or whatever, people want to know like what you're up to. And I was like, all right. So I did like a couple of times, I made like a small video, and then I was like, people don't want to know. I don't know. I think that's a sense of that too, of like boasting. That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
like the cheerleading yourself is really hard for me on social media. I have a lot of my own biases. When I see other people cheerleading themselves, I'm like, fuck yeah. And if I ever feel uncomfortable about it, it's 100% me. It's 100% because I'm like, oh shit, like I wish I could do that, or I wish I was at a place that I was doing that. And then I check myself and I'm like, get it, girl or guy or whoever's cheerleading themselves, Yeah.
I feel that way too. I think it's really important that you do check yourself on that though. A lot of people don't, and we all do it. I do it too. I mean, we all do that.
Yeah.
But it's good to check yourself and be like, whoa, this isn't because of them. This is something going on within me. And I've had some things recently, as you know, I've kind of discussed some things with you recently, but social media has kind of played a big part in some of my relationships recently, with having access and things like that. But yeah, it's kind of been the same thing where like I felt weird like celebrating certain successes or even talking about certain things, because I know that there's certain people that are like in my life that aren't actually on my team. They're not actually like cheering me on or thinking like treating it as a positive thing, or and so that's really hard. But that's been kind of a lesson that I've been learning lately, and it did have social media somewhat had to do with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it happens, and a lot of the other people doing that, they're not checking themselves. So I think it's really, really important that you start there. You got to checking yourself is huge, and just recognizing like, hey, it's because I wish I was celebrating that too, or whatever. And then you get into like, well, how can I be? How can I use this to inspire me towards doing that as well, instead of it coming from a place of like, oh, well, they just, whatever the thought is around it. I don't know. A lot of people are like, oh, well, their parents have money, so that's why they have that, or whatever the case may be. Yeah, it's really important that you check yourself on that. So that's good. I'm glad that you mentioned that.
Do you think that social media has like caused people to feel more entitled to your time?
I totally do. And that's why I think there needs to be like firm boundaries around who can access you or how often or whatever. There needs to be boundaries around that, because yeah, I totally do. Yeah, I think there's an entitlement. There's a problem with entitlement just in general, just in life.
Sure.
Like working in public service, I know that you and I have talked about this quite some time, but me as being an optician, I used to love it. And then I got so burnt out on the job because of the entitlement of some of the people coming in. I was just like, I cannot. But yeah, on social media, I get what you're saying though. Like on social media, yeah, it's like, that's another thing too, with social media blowing up. It's so different now because people have access to you all the time. It's like a 24/7 thing, whatever. They can go click on your page whenever, look at your pictures, see what you're up to. They'll write you and, ding you on Messenger or whatever. And if you open up the message, they can see that you read it. And if you leave it on read, then that's a whole thing, like it's so much. But you and I had the pleasure of being able to grow up in a time where like we would miss someone. We didn't see them all day. We didn't see them, we only saw them maybe a couple times a week or whatever. And we would have to go to our landline phone and pick it up and call them. It wasn't this like text and then, oh, if they don't respond right away, like, oh, what the hell is happening? What's going on? It's totally created this like instant gratification type of mentality, or like instant, and then there's so many different ways now. Like you and I be even talking multiple, we don't just text each other, we have like these different platforms that we talk. So yeah, like someone can hit me up on Messenger, another person on I was gonna say Straight Talk, that's the phone service, not the I can't think of any of the names. I'm so bad.
WhatsApp,
Yeah, WhatsApp.
texting, just normal texting,
Exactly.
Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, and then another person will send me a voice note on WhatsApp, and then there's all different kinds of ways. And someone sends me a message on Instagram, it's like you're always, and I'll notice that like it's actually draining our energy. And some people don't believe in energy really, or don't see it, or they're so caught up that they don't know. But like as an energy healer, like that's literally what we're doing when we're open up any message that we open up, whether it's negative or positive or whatever, it's still like taking our attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to set really firm boundaries with that because I mean, as a mom, as a toddler mom, like I can't be sitting on my phone all day scrolling through and, laughing at memes and stuff while my daughter's sitting there like, hey, I need to eat a grilled cheese sandwich, like whatever.
Yeah.
So
Play with me, pay attention to me.
yeah, we have to. So I'm very like, I'm trying to be really intentional, and I'm getting to the point now, after the new year, I was just like, I've got to really get specific with this. I have certain days that are social media days, and then there's other days where it's not. And I line it up too, because like each day has an energy to it. So each day is ruled by a different planet. So it has, like in astrology, it has an energy to it. Like Tuesday is the Mars day. Everyone is like on Monday, like go get her, like, yeah, but it's actually Monday is ruled by the moon. That's feminine, that's intuition, that's a receiving day. Tuesday is the Mars day. That's the go getter, masculine energy, get it done, goals.
I need
Crazy,
this,
right?
like I need this chart for my life.
I'll share it with you.
Yeah.
It's really, and I've always known about this, but I never like tapped into it. But I've always known like, oh yeah, the days are ruled by like certain planets, but I never really like got super into it, which is weird because I'm an astrologer. But lately, just recently, I'm like, no, I'm gonna come up with a goals list, and I want it. It actually started with you and I talking more about like women actually base their business off of their cycles and stuff like that. And I want to start getting more aligned with things like that. So I was like, yeah, energetically, I need to do whatever is going to like push me along the I want the path of least resistance. I just have so much resistance everywhere. Even in my body, I have tension everywhere. And I'm just like, I need least resistance. So I'm like, I'm going to set up specific days, and depending on the energy of that day, then that's going to be what I'm doing. So yeah, Mondays, and Friday, for example, is ruled by Venus. That's a very feminine day. Feminine, art, beauty, sensuality, but that's going to be more of a receiving day. Thursdays
I
are
love
luck.
that. Yeah.
It's
Luck?
really cool. Luck. Yeah. So I'll share it with you. But yeah, I thought it was really cool. And that also explained why Thursdays were always my favorite day. And everyone thought it was so weird, like Thursday, why not Friday? And I'm like, no, I love Thursdays. But yeah, it's ruled by Jupiter. So that's luck, expansion, stuff like that. So and travel. But yeah, so I've been basing that more off. And so now I'm trying to be really intentional, and I have it even down to like what day I'm more on social media and what times. Like I have kind of like in between, 1 and 3, I'm working on my social media or whatever. And then after that, I have to stop. Like I can't, after that, it's Luna's time, and I'm taking her outside, or we're learning or whatever. So I think that's been helping me a lot lately, and it really helps with my mental health too, because I feel empowered and I feel in control of that. And that helps me with like my mental health. I also don't now, with my whole morning routine that I have my phone on do not disturb until I am done with my morning routine, which involves like tapping, meditation, yoga. I do all kinds. I have it's like a whole hour. And then I can get on my phone and stuff, because I used to just, roll over, wake up, get right on Instagram, scroll, and then see some like upsetting comment or something like that and be like, oh, and it'd like ruin my whole day. So at least now I spiral later.
I love that.
Yeah.
I need to do that. I'm actually not on social media a lot. Even on when I look at my numbers and stuff, it's only maybe 10 to 30 minutes a day. because I get into it and I scroll, like I'll do like 2 scrolls and then I get out. And
Nice.
but I do it frequently. So it's like, hey, you've only been on social media for 30 minutes today, but it's like you tapped into Instagram 35 times. So 35
Mhm.
times during the day, I was like habitually just going into it, you know? And so I have to check myself on that. And the self-awareness around that for me is like, it's a numbing out because like I'm usually going through a stressful something and my brain can't handle any more stress. And so then I like look at it for 10 seconds and it like numbs me a little. Not a good way to handle that.
I think a
But
lot of people do that though.
yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
aware of it, so it's like I don't stay there. It's like a scroll and then I'm like, I have to get out.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like you were saying, I'm glad you brought that up. There's like a million different things too. I think I told you even a couple weeks ago, on average, I get 145 notifications a day. And so it's
Whoa.
very overwhelming. And a lot of those for me, because of the hospitality business, are things I have to respond to right now. Like,
Yep.
and so I'm constantly in like fight or flight mode. It's like, oh shit, like a fire's burning. I have to put fires out all the time. Like it even happened last night. I was like 7 at night and I was like going to the bathroom, you know, and me and Don were having a conversation before and he expected me to come back out and he wanted to keep the conversation going. And I like sitting on the toilet, my phone's going off and I had like run out of the bathroom and I was like, the cleaner didn't clean like the Airbnb or whatever. And so
Oh
then
no.
the guy was super nice about it, but then I'm like pulling clothes on, going over there, fixing this problem, like cleaning a whole apartment. And it was very like, it's like that a lot though. And so, because I'm in the growing process, and so I don't have like the help, but it's a boundary I know I need to like set because it's like 145 notifications a day. Like texts is like too much. I'm just like, I can't handle this. So I feel that when you're
Yeah.
saying you feel like that in your body, I feel that in my body a lot, which is like why I do the breath work too, because I have to let it go.
Mhm.
Honestly, it helps me handle my stress a lot. And I know it's not forever. That's the other thing that helps me. It's like I've grown so much now, I can hire that out or whatever. But yeah. And that's the other thing is like waking up in the morning. I used to have my phone in the other room and stuff, and it's so good for you. But I've gotten in a really bad habit again with my work, like checking. First thing I
Yeah.
wake up and I look to make sure like no one had problems during the night or couldn't get checked in or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. It doesn't have to be that way for me. I know last year was just like in the growing phases of my business or whatever, but um yeah, so for social media, it's like for me, I have such a high stress notifications all the time that it's like oftentimes I enter social media without a good mindset, and I can tell the
Mhm.
difference. Where like
Yeah.
yeah, like 2020 and like half of last year, I had so much time on my hands and I was way more intentional about how I entered social media and it made a huge difference compared to now. It's like yeah, even the people that are starting to follow me now, sometimes I'm like, "Who is that person?" And it's like some financier or something, and it feels really weird, like the energy of it. I'm just like,
Mhm.
"Why is this person following me?" And it's like great, but also it just feels a little bit different than the people that were following me when I was more intentional. I can tell the difference.
Mhm.
It's my own
Yeah.
social experiment on myself. So,
Yeah, I've noticed that too recently. So, like I said, I feel like right now I've been kind of drawing in more of the like-minded people, but I definitely have been there where it wasn't always like that. Um, and it's definitely a different feel to it. Even just going on and getting on, and then you're shown their posts, right? You're not like you don't have control over like what you're seeing. There's
mhm,
ways to control it more, but I mean, still, like stuff is just kind of thrown in your face, you know? And
yeah.
yeah, when it's people that aren't like-minded and it's like multiple accounts, you're scrolling through just like, what is this? I'm not into any of this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
That's how it used to feel scrolling. Now it's definitely the opposite. Like I'll have just one like random thing that I'm like, oh yeah, this person, they're always posting about this. That's weird. And then for the majority of it, I'm like going through like, you know,
Yeah.
amethyst and then like a Labradorite. And oh yeah,
I-
that's the stuff.
You like have to learn that stuff. I'm glad you brought that up because it's like it's like someone knocking at your door and surprise showing up at your house and you're like, wait, no, don't do that. And like I like believe in veganism, as you know. And so it's like I was vegan forever and like that's my own like journey and battle, but I'd follow a bunch of vegan accounts and I had to stop because I don't want to wake up at 9 in the morning and see the horrible things that are happening. And like I'm not trying to like turn
Oh
a blind
yeah.
eye. Like I'm not
Hmm.
trying to be ignorant to it, but I don't
Hmm.
need that at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Like
Just
I'll
starting off
tell
your day.
I have to
Yeah.
get into a place where I'm safe and comfortable and in that mindset to like see those things. I don't want to just be like fucking amethyst and then like some of the horrible, horrible stuff that's like on their sites.
Yeah.
You're just like, what?
You just get
So
like a good hit, a dopamine hit, and then the next one is like, oh, what? No. And then the next one, like, good. Like,
too
yeah.
much.
But as you start getting more intentional with it and like those things filter out, I
Mhm.
feel like, you know, those things will like
Yeah.
filter through. Not that it's a bad thing. Like you said, you don't want to turn a blind eye to it. Like, I definitely want to be aware of stuff like that too. Cause then how do you know to, you know, not eat this from this kind of food or buy products from this company because they test on animals or, you know, stuff like I want to know stuff like that. I want to be aware of it. I don't want to keep supporting stuff like that. But yeah, at the same time, I don't want to like, you know, rise and shine out of bed and like open up my blinds and look at my like window prism and my rainbows. And then all of a sudden I see like some slaughtered cow. I'd be like, yeah, like
Yeah.
all the time that's yeah, that affects you.
Yeah.
And if you start noticing it's triggering you or affecting you in a negative way, trigger, that word gets thrown around a lot. But honestly, like,
It's a good
especially with
one.
someone who has PTSD,
Mhm.
that's what it is. I get triggered. I get triggered very easily, and it can happen multiple times a day, and it can happen like you know, I need to know that about myself. I know that about myself. I know that I have to like protect myself in these certain ways or have these boundaries, you know. But yeah, you don't want to just start off your day with feeling like that because it can be rough, and I definitely can spiral. There's been quite a
Yeah.
few times that you've checked in on me and I'm like, oh, I'm just spiraling over here, and it's always from social media. So
I mean, we laugh, but I feel like we're working through it and we're aware and we're trying and yeah.
we're definitely working through it. I know that you and I send each other tons of memes throughout the day. So
Those make my heart happy though.
they do. Yeah. I've had some really like bust a gut, like laughing till I cry
I
over just
know.
some of the stuff people are creating on the internet. It's amazing. So yeah.
It's true. And I think we all have to remember too, like our triggers are our responsibility.
Yeah.
And people out there, it's not their obligation or their responsibility to tiptoe around, your stuff. And especially a stranger who's putting stuff on the internet, it's like that's not their responsibility. It's different if it's like a best friend and they know your triggers and like you guys can talk about it and maybe like have open
Mhm.
communication, but like a stranger on the internet and you're on their personal page, like it is not their responsibility. So you have to be self-aware and to protect yourself.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But that does go both ways. How you were saying earlier, like if someone goes on my page, I also know that, hey, it's not my responsibility. Like
Yeah.
if someone's super religious and they go on my page, they're probably not going to be too happy, you know, like
Yeah.
just keep scrolling, delete me, whatever you need to do. That's great. I totally support that. But yeah, I mean, you're probably not going to want to follow me. And if you do, and you're sitting there posting like on every one of my posts, putting all these negative comments and stuff, it's like, then fucking don't follow me.
Yeah.
that's kind of that's that's kind of where I come from too. Like I know that my triggers are my responsibility. It's my responsibility to set my boundaries, make my times, or do whatever I need to do for my mental health. But it goes the other way around too. You need to do that for yourself as well, and you don't blame the person's page that you're looking at. You have to look at your own triggers or things with that. Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
It's so true. I feel like social media has shone a light on my codependency tendencies to navigate other people's feelings and be like, I have to like mitigate this for that person and I have to say it this
Yep.
way. And like, I try to like really control the other person's like emotional experience. It's very codependent of me, and make sure that it's like a good experience for that person. So I think when social media came out, it very much really shined a light on that for me. I was like, holy shit. It's easy to
Mhm.
say like, oh, I'm not codependent when it's like one best friend, but like when it's like all of these people and you're like, oh shit, I have a problem.
It's huge. And when it's strangers, for me, that's the thing. I'm like, why do I even care? Like, this person's a
Yeah.
stranger. They don't pay my bills.
I
They
thought you said
don't.
kill. They don't
I
kill.
know.
I was like, wait, what?
No, I got a little tongue tied. Yeah, they don't pay my bills. They don't give me orgasms. Like, why do I care? Like,
Hmm.
so yeah, that's definitely been something huge for me too. A huge realization for sure. Like, yeah, I mean, and I kind of got to a point where I'm like, it doesn't matter how hard I try. Like,
Oh
I
yeah.
can't please everybody. I can't please everyone.
Mm-mm.
Someone's going to still be mad. Someone's going to still have something to say. Someone's going to still feel triggered or jealous, or, you just, yeah, I just don't have the energy anymore. I don't have the energy to like exert in those places anymore. It just doesn't make any sense to. But I mean, definitely easier said than done. Like, for sure, easier said than done.
I
Something that currently working through.
Yeah. I think one of the things that really helps me is like having a purpose. So like this podcast is really helping because I try to remember that one of the reasons I want to be on social media is because I want to be inspirational. I want people to see they can live a different kind of life. Eventually, like I want people to realize they can also have a lot of money or be rich or whatever that means to them. Like be financially stable. Like I love helping people create businesses. I love helping people with their wellness stuff too, and I want people to know the kind of life they can live. And so I'm over here building this like life of an example, and then I don't share it because I'm afraid. And it's like, wait, no, like that's not
Yeah.
fair. Like people have to understand there's another way. And so I have to try to, what helps me get through it is like remembering that I have a purpose. And that purpose has to outweigh these people's opinions. And
Yeah.
so it's like really helpful. Like I had two of my nieces reach out to me and say super cute stuff, and it like really made my heart swell because, some of the things that we've been shown in our family dynamic are so not okay as many
Hmm.
families are. And it's like, and it's very traditional in a lot of ways. And like some of my nieces are not, and they're a lot more like me. And so it made me feel really good. They were like listening to our podcast, and then they both reached out and they were like, oh my gosh, I feel so inspired. Like, thank you so much for sharing that. And it like really like, I was like, these are girls that now women, I can't believe my nieces are like in their 20s, but um that's why I do it. Like I love these not kids, women now so much that it's like, oh my gosh, like I've made a difference in their
That's
life
awesome.
because I shared something, because we shared something.
Hmm.
And it's like that outweighs any negative comment that I still haven't gotten yet. So I'm not sure why I'm overly worried about it.
Same. Yeah.
Hasn't
Same.
happened. To be clear to our people, we've had nothing but positive backing it with this. So thank
Yeah.
you all for that. And for listening to our spirals. Yeah, but the purpose has to be more than the opinion. And I like literally, that's my mantra lately. I have to like tell myself that.
We are making that into a quote for sure. Posting that out.
Yes. Now that I've made our quote templates more aesthetically pleasing.
Yes, you did. You did that, girl.
Oh my gosh.
They look really nice. I'm excited.
Sweet.
Speaking of social media, we're updating ours. That's funny.
I know. I think, oh, I had one more thing I was going to say about social media though. Like Alexandra Roxo, she posted something that really resonated with me. And it was like, these are people that you're following. Like you're following human beings. You're taking from them content like writing or art or music. Engage back. Like make it an energetic exchange. You know, it means a lot to those people. Because I was like, oh shit, I wrote her like a paragraph and I was like, oh my God, like I feel so called out because I just fucking scroll and I'm just like intaking and I numb out. And it's like, these are people, like they're putting a lot of heart and energy into this. And so I want to be more mindful about like connection and engagement as opposed to just consuming other people's stuff and then never engaging with them, you know?
I really like that.
Yeah, it was very like at first it like triggered me. And then I was like, wait, and then, you know, as she often does. Like I feel like I've learned a lot of lessons from her, but yeah, it was a really like mind opening. So now when I get in there, I try to remember it. Like even if it's like someone who has 2 million followers, I'll still just like put emojis or like say something or like try to like engage because it's also about putting your energy into other people. Like other people are putting a lot of effort. The least you could do is like do an emoji of a unicorn, you know?
That's cool.
So
an emoji of a unicorn. Cute.
yeah, I wanted
like
to
that.
hit that point too because I thought it really hit home for me.
I'm glad you did because yeah, I've actually is it Gala Darling that talks about that? Someone actually that I follow and you know, I'm really inspired by and stuff. They were talking about that an energy exchange and it's like, yeah, it is. So yeah, I thought that was a really good. I'm really glad that you made that point in there too. I agree. Yeah, just put a picture of a unicorn in the comments.
I know. I'd be totally. I'm so okay with that. Yeah, I love unicorns.
Me too. Nice.
Yeah. So I feel like I have touched everything I wanted to. I don't know if you do. If there's more you want to like tap into.
I think I did as well. Yeah. Yeah. I think I did as well. I know what I feel like we're gonna stop recording and then I'll be like, oh, I forgot to mention this. I do feel that way, but I don't have anything on the top of my head right now. So
I mean, always. That is why we did a part 2 of travel.
I know we immediately stopped recording. Like
Yeah.
the second we stopped, you're just like, oh, I didn't talk about this and this and this. So I'm glad we did a part 2 on that. But yeah, social media, it's a huge topic, especially now and lately. And as it just gets bigger and bigger, it's been a huge topic even between you and I after starting the podcast. And a lot of my fears about starting the podcast, it's not the actual podcast itself. A lot of it has been social media, like the fears around social media and stuff and fears that haven't even happened yet. So it's like irrational, right? I mean, it hasn't even, it's things that haven't even happened. It's comments that haven't even happened. And I'm sitting here acting as if it has. But yeah, it's just something that I think we're both currently working through and still learning. Kind of like some of our other episodes of topics.
Most of our other episodes.
Yeah, we're still in it. It's not stuff that we're just like, it's just in the past and woo, cool. Like, no, we're still in it. We're still learning and experiencing these things. And yeah, I feel like that brings a realness and a rawness to it. And That's all I had to say. I just kind of went off on a whole
I
tangent,
love it.
but
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I think I've said everything I need to say now.
Perfect. I did not pull a card yet because I wanted to pull one together.
Yay.
So I'm going to do the star seed. I know, the lighting gets all
Ooh,
weird.
I like the
Dun-dun-dun.
starseed one.
I love I'm always like peeking around the corner
I know. Yeah.
because I can't see if it's like in the shot. It's okay. We'll just be creepers. Okay.
That is funny. Look at this picture, and you're like,
I know.
I love it. Star seeds.
Okay. The energy of social media. What are we trying to learn here?
What is the message?
Message. Sing to my cards. Okay.
Message.
Cute.
Well,
Do you
I
guys want to
like
hear
that.
about it?
Do you guys?
Yeah. Your life is a canvas, and it's about artist, manifestation, and creative accountability.
What?
Isn't that a good one?
That's cool. Ooh, that's
I wish
pretty.
I know. I wish I could like do better. I wish I could do
Do
better.
better.
It's just-
Like in what?
I meant like do better with like showing
Yeah.
the picture. Okay. I just called myself out. It's fine.
I wish I could do better.
I know, don't we all? Your life is a canvas. Number 134, that is the page. I wish I knew numerology better. That's one thing I really would like to get into.
It's pretty tight. It's dope.
You're the artist of your life, and your life is a canvas. Take responsibility for your ability to create. Earth is known as a planet of manifestation. What? I've never heard that.
I never have either.
My mind's being blown by this whole thing. Your present moment is based on your past thoughts and beliefs. Your current thoughts determine your future. What kind of life do you want to create for the future? What are you being called to create? Reconnect with your manifesting power and align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the vibration that matches them. It's never too late to start, and no experience is required. All you need is an open heart and mind and consistent daily action. If you're not sure what you'd like to create, start instead with a feeling of deep gratitude for all that's good in your life right now. State out loud what you're most thankful for. Look for the good in your life, and one thing will be certain. You'll find yourself attracting more and more good experiences into your world. This card is inviting you to see your entire life as a canvas, and the picture is completely up to you. Color it with your thoughts and feelings. Create the life that you most long to live. You may also be called to be more creative in your everyday life. What have you been called to create? How can you express yourself more creatively? And then the star seed, soul inquiry is, what are you being called to create in your life? So ask yourself that question. I feel like this is such a good one for social media.
For this,
like artist, manifestation, creative accountability. Like we talked about most of that stuff, like touched on
in
like
some
that.
type of way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Like it is what you create. It's the thoughts that you think. So we really have got to stop thinking that we're going to get canceled. Let's just
I
not.
know. No, it's
learning.
so dumb because we've only gotten good feedback too. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I think as long as you come up as your authentic self, which we are, like we're very authentic on this podcast. Like
I don't know how not to be. I'm not an actress.
Yeah, no, I love it. So yeah, I think that from that we will attract the right audience, the right people, the right, or not the right, but just
Our people, aligned people.
Yeah.
I like that word.
Yeah. So we do need to stop thinking like that. But when it was talking about your accountability as well, I thought that was really cool. Kind of reminded me of when we were talking about like your triggers are your responsibility. So that's yeah, that made me think back to that whole conversation because that was very enlightening and insightful. But yeah, really cool. I
Yeah,
like
I've
that.
never heard those two words together, like creative accountability. And I feel like that
Yeah,
makes perfect sense for what we're talking about.
nice. Yeah.
So we're going to manifest all our wonderful listeners. Comment
Yes.
unicorns. And
Yes.
we love hearing from you guys. Honestly, we love your comments and watching our numbers go up to everyone that's like listening. And yeah, so thank you so much for spending this time with us. I know time is the most precious thing that we have, and we adore you all. So don't forget to be wise.
And get weird. I'm a unicorn.